A very good morning to all of you. I am Mr. Kamlesh Ahirwar, Assistant Professor, IIMT College of Science and Technology, Greater Noida. Today, in this session, we will discuss OOPS concept in C++ programming language. Also discuss in this session feature of OOPS, principle of OOPS, and also discuss the advantages of OOPS programming. What is object-oriented programming? The main intent of introducing the C++ programming language was to add object-oriented feature to the C language. OOPS offers several benefits or advantages to the designer and user, and there are various areas where OOPS play an essential role, including user interface, design simulation, and modeling, etc. What are OOPS concept in C++? OOPS or object-oriented programming is an approach or a programming pattern where the programs are structured around objects rather than function and logic. It makes the data partitioned into two memory areas, that is data and functions, and helps make the code flexible and modular. Object-oriented programming mainly focus on objects that are required to be manipulated. It means the object-oriented programming, everything is manipulated by the object. Even in the C language, in the POP language, in the procedure-oriented language, the everything in the program is manipulated by the functions. But in C++ or object-oriented programming language, everything is manipulated by the object. In OOPS, it can represent data as objects that have attribute and functions. What is procedural programming? Procedural programming can be defined as a programming model which is derived from structured programming based upon the concept of calling procedure. Procedures, also known as routines, methods, subroutines, functions, simply consist of series of computational steps to be carried out. During a program execution, any given procedure might be called at any point, including by other procedure or itself. Example of the procedural programming language is COBOL, Fortran, ALGOL, B.Sc, Pascal, and C programming. Object-oriented programming is about creating objects that contains both data and functions. Object-oriented programming is a paradigm that provides many concepts such as inheritance, classes, data binding, polymorphism, abstraction, etc. The programming paradigm where everything is represented as an object is known as truly object-oriented programming language. In the programming language, the Smalltalk is considered as the first truly object-oriented programming language. Why do you need object-oriented programming language? The earlier approaches to programming were not that good, and there were several limitations as well. Like in procedural-oriented programming, you cannot reuse the code again in the program. And there was the problem of global access, and the approach could not solve the real world problem very well. So the concept of OOPS comes. In object-oriented programming, it is easier to maintain the code with the help of classes and objects using inheritance. There is a code reusability. That is, you don't have to write the same code again and again, which increases the simplicity of program and also the reduce of time. Concepts like encapsulation and abstraction provide data hiding as well. Now have a look at some basic concept of C++. Oops. There are some basic concepts principles that act as the building blocks of the OOPs. These are the basic building blocks. These are the principles. These are the features of object-oriented programming language. First one is that. First one is class and object. Second one is abstraction. Third one is encapsulation. Fourth one is inheritance. And fifth one is polymorphism. So now you will understand each of these concepts in details in next slides. What is object? An object can be defined as an entity that has a state and behavior, or in other words, anything that exists physically in the world is called an object. It can represent a dog or person or table, etc. What is the object? The real world entity is an object. Okay. What is the entity? The real world object is an entity which have some attribute, which have some properties. That's called the object. An object means that the combination of data and the programs which further represented an entity. There is the class fruit. Class name is fruit. And what is object? Apple, bananas, mango. These are the object. It means this is the class, this is the object. Okay. This is the easiest example of the classes and object. Class can be defined as a blueprint of the object. What is class? Class can be defined as a blueprint of the object. It means it is basically a collection of objects. Class, what is nothing is the collection of objects. Class is what? Class is nothing. It is the collection of objects which act as building blocks. Okay. Like class, this is the class and this is the object. Color is the object and class is the car. Okay. A class contains data members. Class contains the data members, variables and member functions. Class contains the variables and it means member data and member function. Member data is means one member data is what? Variables. And function also contains. The class contains the variable and member function. These member functions are used to manipulate the data members inside the class. These member functions, again repeat, these member functions are used to manipulate the data members inside the class. This is the class car and wheels, bumpers, exhaust. This is the data member. It means this is the variable. Okay, this is the data member. And member function is speed, engine, mileage. These are the what? These are the member function of the class. Which class belongs to car class? Okay. Next is abstraction. The abstraction is a very important feature of the OOPS. The data abstraction is one of the most essential and important feature of object-oriented programming. Abstraction means displaying only essential information and hiding the details. Data abstraction refers to provide only essential information about the data to the outside world, hiding the background details or implementation. Consider a real-life example of a man driving a car. The man only knows that pressing the accelerator will increase the speed of a car or applying brakes will stop the car. But he does not know how on presenting the accelerator, the speed is actually increasing. He does not know about the inner mechanism of the car or the implementation of the accelerator, brakes, accelerator, etc. in the car. This is what abstraction is. Data abstraction. Two type of abstraction in the C++ programming language. The data abstraction. Second one is control abstraction. What is data abstraction? This type only shows the required information about the data and hides the understanding. This is based on the data. And control, this type only shows the required information about the implementation. This shows the about the data. This is focused on the about the implementers and hides unnecessary information. Okay, abstraction using class. How to use abstraction in the class. How to implement abstraction in the class. We can implement abstraction in C++ using classes. The class help us to group data members and member functions using available access specifiers. A class can decide which data member will be visible to the outside of the class and outside of the world, and which is not. This is the concept of abstraction. This is the concept of class. Okay, this is the concept of access specifier. Abstraction in header files. One more type of abstraction in C++ can be header file. For example, consider the POWL power method, power function present in math.h header file. This is the already inbuilt function. What function is inbuilt? Power function is inbuilt. Where is inbuilt? Math.h header file. The math.header file also contains the power function. Whenever we need to calculate the power of a number, we simply call the function pow present in the math.s header file and pass the members as arguments without knowing the underlying algorithms, according to which the function is actually calculating the power of numbers. Abstraction using access specifier. Access specifier are the main pillar of implementing abstraction in C++. We can use access specifier to enforce restrictions on class members. What restrictions? Public, private, protected, sorry. For example, members declared as public in a class can be accessed from anywhere in the program. But member declared as private in a class can be accessed only from within the class. They are not allowed to be accessed from any part of the code outside the class. What is the encapsulation? Next is encapsulation is the feature of OOPS, the wrapping up of data and functions together in a single unit is known as encapsulation. Again, read this. The wrapping up of data and function. It means the class concept. It means a class contains the combination of data or member function. It means the encapsulation feature is inbuilt in the class. Okay. Any encapsulation, what is called encapsulation? The wrapping of the data and function together is called the encapsulation. It can be achieved by making the data members scope private and the member function scope public to access these data members. Encapsulations makes the data non-accessible to the outside, to the world. Like this is the class, this is the encapsulate, this is the capsulate. The encapsulation comes from the capsulate. Capsulate what? Capsule what? The combination of different type of item, different type of medicines. The combination of encapsulate the different type of medicines. So the word encapsulation comes from the capsules. The capsule is combination of data members and members. So here's the class is the combination of data members and member function. Okay, class is contains the data member and member function. Okay. Next is polymorphism. The next feature, the next principle is polymorphism. Polymorphism means many form. What is poly any? Many. Morph is many. Many uski form. It is the ability to take more than one. Okay. It is feature that provide a function or an operator with more than one definition. It can be implemented using function overloading, operator overloading, and function overriding or virtual function. A real-life example of polymorphism is a person who at the same time can have a different characteristics, like a man at the same time is a father, a husband, and an employee. Okay, so the same person exhibits different behavior in different situations. This is called polymorphism. The next is inheritance. Very important feature is inheritance. Inheritance is the process in which two classes have and is a relationship among each other, and object of one class acquire properties and feature of the other class. It means whenever the one class requires the some properties of another class, then we will use the inheritance concept. The class which inherits the feature is known as the child class, and the class whose feature is inherited is called a parent class. For example, class vehicle is the parent class, and class bus, car, bike the child class. See here, the base class, the class vehicle is the base class. Used for transportation include these. The used for the transportation include these. These are the member function. Okay, member data, member function. This is the feature. This is the feature of which feature? This is the feature of vehicle class. And there are the class bus, class car, class bike. The class bus, class car, and class bike is inherit the property of used for transportation. Like this, used for transportation included all property are accessed by the class bus, all property are accessed by the class car, all property are accessed by the bike. Okay, the class vehicle property are accessed by the class bus. This is the inherited. It means the base class property is inherited to the another child class property. This combination, this paradigm called the inheritance. What is the advantage? This is the code reusability. Whenever we write the one time the code, then we will use in next time many more time the code. Advantage of object-oriented programming language. The advantage of OOPS concept. There are various advantages of object-oriented programming. OOPS provide reusability to the code and extend the use of existing classes. In OOPS, it is easy to maintain code as there are classes and objects, which helps in making it easy to maintain rather than restructuring. It also helps in data hiding, keeping the data and information safe from leaking or getting exposed. Object-oriented programming is easy to implement. Why do we need to use OOPS? Making programming clear and problem solving more concise, reusing code with the help of inheritance, reducing redundancy, encapsulation, data hiding, the the division into subprograms and program flexibility using polymorphism. So this is the all about the OOPS concept in C++. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you so much.